Welcome to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy, standing on Detroit Lakes Beach here with the Detroit Lakes Mayor Matt Brink, and we are talking today about there's a vote coming up, an election coming up, and on the ballot there will be a question posed to Detroit Lakes taxpayers whether or not to approve a sales tax, and the mayor is going to talk a little bit about that sales tax today and what it will be used for.
Okay, yeah, sure. The City Council is asking the voters to enact a 1% food and beverage tax in the city, and there are 4 special projects that these funds would be earmarked for, and probably the most important one is for treatment and research for the flowering rush in Detroit Lake. The other 3 items are our bike trail system, connection to the Heartland Trail system. The third one would be to create additional parking venues near our public facilities, whether they be downtown or near parks and things like that. And then the fourth area is for the redevelopment area that was turned back by the state of Minnesota when the Highway 10 project was done.
Okay, Mayor Brink, talk a little bit more about this sales tax and how, the process that you went through to get this approved, because explain that originally you wouldn't have had to bring it to the voters.
That's correct. Right now there is a moratorium that the legislature has put on for any general local option sales tax. The general tax that we pay as Minnesotans is a general sales tax. In the past, the legislature has allowed municipalities to enact a food and beverage tax at their own discretion or the city council's discretion. However, this year when we went to get a bill passed for legislation to do a food and beverage tax, Governor Pawlenty had indicated that unless we conducted a referendum of the voters, he was going to veto that bill. So we're the first city actually in Minnesota that's had to go through a referendum to get a food and beverage tax.
And the reason for this tax, as you said, it goes towards 4 different projects or 4 different areas in the city it would be used towards, but it's not just, it wouldn't just be for Detroit Lake citizens.
Well, that's correct. The Detroit Lake citizens are the ones that will actually cast the vote to enact the tax. However, one of the key elements of this tax is that we have lots and lots of people that come to Detroit Lakes as a destination place. They use our lakes, they use our parking facilities, they use our park and rec facilities, and really aren't paying, their fair share, so to speak, for the construction and maintenance of these facilities. And so the idea of the food and beverage tax is to spread this out over a broader base of people. And when I mean a broader base, I mean those tourists that come to Detroit Lakes in the summer, the people that live outside the corporate limits in our suburban areas that aren't paying city property taxes. They're all going to be asked to chip in a little bit so we can get some of these special things done. And those are actually the people, along with our own citizens, that benefit and utilize these facilities.
All right. Detroit Lakes Mayor Matt Brink is my guest today on Hometown's Happenings. And of course, Mayor Brink, you had mentioned one of the areas, one of the facilities of Detroit Lakes, of course, is our lake here, and that is dealing with the flowering rush, as you said. Now, what specifically is being done, for those people who are watching today, saying what's the big deal about flowering rush?
Well, right now, the Pelican River Watershed District is going through a very extensive research project that's going to take several years to complete. Also, we continue to do, what treatment we can and are seeking to find ways to control it as this research is being done. But the bottom line is the research and the ultimate treatment of this problem is going to take, quite a bit of money. The Pelican River Watershed came to the council last evening and requested about $90,000, I think, over the next 3 years, a total of $90,000 over 3 years. And we deferred action on it until after the referendum because we are hoping that the voters will approve this, and it'll be much easier for us to contribute to this research and to the treatment.
Mayor Matt Brink is my guest today on Hometown Happenings here in Detroit Lakes on the beach, and we're going to take a quick break and be back with more after this. Welcome back to Hometown Happenings. I'm Carol McCarthy here with Detroit Lakes Mayor Matt Brink, and we've changed locations. We are now in Peoples Park, and we're talking about the sales tax that is going to be posed as a question. You vote yes or no coming up November 2nd. It'll be on the ballot for Detroit Lakes citizens. And Mayor Brink, now part of this this tax will go towards parking areas.
That's correct. So we're down here in Peoples Park, and part of this redevelopment of our outdoor skating facility is going to involve creation of about I think it's about 75 additional parking spots along this road, and that's exactly where some of this money will go in the future. It'll be utilized to improve parking venues close to park and recreational facilities in our downtown area and so forth. This particular improvement is maybe a bad example of that. Because this one is being paid by an assessment to Zorbas. Because their expansion, they needed some more parking, so they agreed to pay for this particular parking improvement. But yeah, the tax will be used for very, very similar projects like this.
Okay. And also explain a little bit about, obviously Zorbas will be one of the restaurants or one of the establishments in town that will be affected by this tax as well on their goods.
Right. We've had kind of a mixed bag of reactions from the different bars and restaurants. Some of the bar and restaurant owners are very much in favor of it. They see the value of, keeping flowering rush out of the lake. They see the value of having parking venues where people can get to the businesses much more easily. We've had some bar and restaurant owners express the opinion that maybe the tax should be less than 1%. And we've also had a few bar and restaurant owners that are not necessarily in favor of it. They feel like it could be a negative thing for their business. But overall, we haven't had a real lot of negative reaction from those people that will be collecting this food and beverage tax.
All right. Now, this you were talking before the break about how you're going to spread the tax. It's not just going to affect Detroit Lakes citizens, but it's going to kind of spread that around. And how is that going to also help Detroit Lakes citizens? I mean, will that help keep property taxes down and that sort of thing?
Well, and that's also a real key point, Carol, because whether we have this food and beverage tax approved or not, ultimately we're going to have to do something with the flowering rush in the lake. We have to deal with parking problems. So without this extra stream of revenue, which is going to be paid in a large part by non-residents, we would have to, over time probably raise our property taxes to deal with some of these issues. So the effect of the food and beverage tax will be to take some of the pressure off the property taxpayer.
And if people want to find out more about this sales tax, you can, I'm sure, find more information on the Detroit Lakes website.
Correct. There is a whole series of questions and answers about the food and beverage tax. It's on the city website. Just Google City of Detroit Lakes and you can get onto our website. Also, you and I are going to be doing another radio segment on Hodgepodge coming up later this month. And there's going to be some information in the local newspaper. And so I think people will be able to access this information if they want to learn more about it. They can always call me, call City Hall, drop us an email, and we'd be more than happy to talk with anybody that has questions.
All right, Detroit Lakes Mayor Matt Brink, City of Detroit Lakes, and remember, November 2nd, get out and vote. Mayor Brink, thank you so much for visiting with me in Hometown Happenings today.
Well, thanks for having me.
All right, and that is going to wrap it up for Hometown Happenings on TV3. I'm Carol McCarthy.